Welcome once again to my channel, All Things Missing and Lost. This is episode 2. In this channel, in every episode, we would explore a situation, a case of a missing person, a missing thing, a missing place. Some of them have never been found, some of them have been found. It's also a reminder to us to treasure the things and the people we have around us, because we won't always have them around. In a flash of an eye, they could be gone. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and I hope you like today's episode. In today's episode, we'll be speaking about missing persons. And we all know a missing person story, each and every single one of us. In fact, the world has always been talking about the missing explorer Amelia Earhart, who embarked on an expedition to fly around the world. But soon after, she disappeared. Her plane was never found, neither was she ever found. She remains missing until today. But I will not be delving into this case today. In fact, I want to look at a lesser known case. Our story today begins in Japan. It is 1998. It is May the 3rd. It is a holiday season, and the missing person that I'm going to be talking about is Noriko Shizuka. She is 48 years old. Not very old, but she's already a grandmother because her family has married young. In fact, they are traveling to Akagi Shrine on this fateful day. Akagi Shrine is located in Japan. It's famous and picturesque with mountains around the region, as well as beautiful flowers that bloom at this season of the year. Noriko and her family are traveling from their hometown in Shiroshi, Chiba Prefecture to the Miyosawa Akagi Shrine in Miyagi-Mura, which is in Gunma Prefecture. The distance they are about to travel is about 110 kilometers, and they decide to make this journey via car. It's a large group that's going. There are about 7 of them all together. In fact, Noriko, her husband, her daughter, her daughter's son, which is her grandson, Noriko's uncle, her aunt, and her mother-in-law. Altogether, about 7 of them are traveling in 2 different cars to make this 110 kilometers journey. As I mentioned earlier, the reason why they are traveling right up to Akagi Shrine is because it's the holiday season, and yet also Akagi Shrine is known for blooming azaleas flowers during the season. It's going to be beautiful. But it is a rainy day, and the family decides to make the trip anyway. By the time they reach Akagi Shrine, it is still raining quite badly. And so, in fact, only the men disembark from the cars to go into the temple, and the women decide to stay and wait until the men are done. They waited in the car. But having traveled such a long distance, Noriko feels that it's such a waste if she doesn't get out of the vehicle. So she grabs 101 yen and she says, I'm just going to drop this in the donation box. And she leaves the vehicle. Noriko is wearing a pink long sleeves blouse together with a black skirt. She is wearing blue sandals with hibiscus print on them, and she's carrying a red umbrella. In fact, she's wearing pretty distinctive clothing, easy to spot from a distance. Noriko heads down to make a donation. During this time, the family doesn't think much about it, and so the daughter gets out of the car when her little boy gets a bit fussy, and she tends to him. They're moving outside of the car, giving the boy a bit of space. That is when she notices her mother, Noriko, standing about 100 meters away from the car with her umbrella open, standing unnaturally still. Her direction in which she's facing is as if she's walking away from the car. Her daughter doesn't think much about this, but this turns out to be the very last time she's going to see her mother. She turns her attention to her son, and then in a short while turns her gaze back towards where her mother was, and she's no longer there. The men arrive and come back to the car, and they ask, where is Noriko? And that's when the daughter describes what had happened, They all get out of the car after a while, trying to see where she is in the temple. They walk around the temple grounds, move around back and forth, ask people after a while if they'd seen this pink-bloused woman walking around, and nobody sees her. Nobody's seen her. Nobody knows where she went. And the family starts to get worried after a while. They get back in the car. They wonder where could she have gone. Maybe she'd gone to some place to pray and they had not seen her. Now, this is not a very dangerous place. There are no cliffs or dangerous obstacles. So she couldn't have fallen off a cliff in some way. The only concern that Noriko's daughter had was that, you see, Noriko was susceptible to a pain in her right ear, which would cause her nausea and sometimes make her feel faint. She would usually wear a hearing aid, but on that day, the family reports that she had somehow lost it on that day. Soon after, when the family cannot find her after a full day, they decide to make a report. And the next day, 100-person search party was organized to start to look for her. In fact, when they go around to search for her, they cannot find Noriko anywhere. In fact, they even bring tracking dogs to search. And this is 10 days in, and they are still searching, and they cannot find any trace of Noriko anywhere. Not her umbrella, not her clothes, or whatever it is. She's completely gone. She's missing. But during this time, while the whole search party is going around searching for 10 days, there was a report that someone alleges to have seen her a day later, dressed in the dressing that she had, walking down a road maybe 3 kilometers from the shrine. Was this really her? No one knows. In fact, this case was then brought forth to the news stations, and 7 months later, after she had gone missing, it was publicized on different shows. In fact, one of these TV shows, Kiseki no Tobira TV no Chikawa, is actually receiving now calls in, as well as a videotape from someone who had sent it in, alleging that this video was taken near the shrine on that day that Noriko went missing. And it shows a woman dressed in a pink long-sleeved attire, carrying a red umbrella, walking into the woods. The family, however, does not think that it's her after viewing the tape. In fact, soon after this TV station broadcast that video, the family soon began to receive strange silent phone calls, calling into their house, even sometimes late at night as well. And they wonder, who could this be? And each time they say, hello, hello, no, and no one replies at the end of the other line. They make police reports, and eventually they trace these phone calls to be coming from Osaka, the other side of where they lived at, the other side of Japan. In fact, could this be Noriko? Nobody knows. What happened that day with Noriko? What happened to her? And what caused her to suddenly go missing? Well, here are about maybe 4 different ideas, and you tell me what you think. Number 1, some people think that Noriko disappeared into the woods. She got disorientated somehow, walked into the wooded area, and then got lost. But if that is so, how is it that after the 100-person search party searched the area, they found no trace of her, even with tracking dogs? Some other people have a second theory. They think Noriko could have been kidnapped, or she could have been robbed. Some robbery was bungled and she was killed. Well, it seems unlikely so. Noriko was a 48-year-old woman, not very old, but again, not very young. Highly unlikely that people want to kidnap her, to traffic her in any way. And the location and the season of being a holiday season where there were large crowds in the Akagi Shrine area made this whole kidnapping story seem unlikely as well. In fact, she had nothing for them to rob her of. She was only carrying 101 yen. A third theory is that of this phenomenon in Japan of the Johatsu companies. Johatsu companies basically help people to evaporate, or that's the literal translation, or to disappear. In Japan, we have this culture of people working hard, and sometimes it's considered shameful if a person wants to quit a company environment that they find is pushing them just so hard that they feel they're going to break. It is considered shameful to resign, and so they just can't take it anymore, and they don't want to fall victim to karoshi, which is working until you die. And then so they engage the johatsu companies that help them to move in the night, to disappear suddenly from their jobs, from their workplaces, from their families, and then they start whole new lives in another part of Japan. Sometimes people engage johatsu companies to help them to disappear and start new lives in other prefectures because they have some shame, some scandal that has happened in their lives, and they're just trying to start all over. Sometimes we've also heard of people engaging johatsu companies because they were trying to escape cases of domestic violence, whereby they no longer want to live with violent spouses. Could Noriko's case be a case of her disappearing via the help of a johatsu company? If so, why did she bring her whole entire family, 7 people, traveling all the way down to Akagi Shrine before making her disappearance? Seems a bit too elaborate, seems a bit too complicated. The fourth possibility is that of black bears. The Akagi Shrine is located in a countryside area whereby black bears sometimes roam around in the woods nearby. Could it be that Noriko had disappeared into the woods as per Theory 1 and then somehow got attacked and eaten by black bears? Even today, we read of black bear attacks sometimes in Japan. People who are jogging, hiking, sometimes get attacked by black bears. Thank God many of them escape with not major injuries. But could Noriko have been the unfortunate victim that day? Well, in August 2012, a human skull was discovered in the forest area in Mount Akagi. While there were initial hopes that this might be Noriko, autopsy results would then show that this skull belonged to a woman who was likely in her late 20s to 30s. The fact that the skull was not very old also shows that this could not have been the 1998 skull. The case remains unsolved until today, and in 2008, the police in Japan considered this case to be closed. Unsolved, unknown. What do you think happened to Noriko? Give me your comments. Let me know. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you again in episode 3.